Okay, I thought I would do another collar comparison video today, showing the SuperFlex collar, the comfy collar that you would choose if you're getting the comfy fit harness, and the collar that you would use for low line of draft that you would also use with the Hames. I want to show the difference in how they are made and their sizing and why you would use the collar in Hames versus the SuperFlex or comfy collar for low line of draft. All right, first we'll start with the SuperFlex. This one is Zorro's and it's got the royal blue trim. The SuperFlex is very soft. It's very bendable. It is a breast collar. This is not a work collar. So this is to be used with the horizontal line of draft only. The SuperFlex does not come with these buckle adapters. These are something that you get separate. It comes with this ring. So you can use snap-on traces for this style collar, or you can get these buckle adapters for it to buckle onto your traces. It has this nice collar cap. It's lined with leather. And I like that it's a little bit wider because it sits really nice and flat on top of their neck. It's not a skinny little piece to cause any kind of pressure or anything. I don't find that this causes any pressure. I haven't found that in the years that we've been using this collar. So it does come back a little bit here on the shoulder, but it does miss the point of shoulder. And of course you have windpipe clearance with this front. So then I'll show it on Zorro. The SuperFlex on him, so you want to make sure that you lay the main hair over nice and flat underneath this collar cap so you don't create any pressure points or anything under there. Make sure all the hair is laying nice and flat underneath there as well, and underneath here, especially in the winter. As you can see, he has a lot of hair going on. The other thing about the SuperFlex collar is that you want it to fit quite snug. You do not want this to be lifting up and down or have space in the front to fold out like so, or to bend out like so and cause gapping. So it needs to fit quite snugly. He wants more cookies. But anyway, that's what the SuperFlex looks like on him. This is a 14-inch SuperFlex. So I want to show where the back of this comes, right to the back of his shoulder. Do you see? But his saddle would sit right here. So there's plenty of clearance from this to the front of the saddle. You can see how using a neck connector strap, switch hands, would cause this top of this collar to tip backward and not lay flat. And then it brings the front up really tight into his neck. There's no reason to use the neck connector strap because that can lay nice and flat without it, and you want it always to be flat on top of their neck, not tipped in any way to create pressure. I want to show too how these neck connectors work. So you unbuckle it, and then the top of this collar is tucked into this pocket. It tucks in there like so, and then you buckle it, and that's what keeps it nice and neat. So make sure that both sides are tucked up inside that collar cap and you don't have one side hanging out of it, because it'll cause the collar to go wonky. If you have it buckled, it can do this. So you need to have it be tucked inside that cap, like so. All right, this one is the comfy collar. This one comes with the buckle adapters. They're sewn on to the ring. So these are sewn on. Same collar cap, leather lined collar cap. This one is Zorro size, the 14-inch. It's a little bit heavier. It's a heavier duty collar. It's a little bit stiffer. So it doesn't have like the nice bend that the SuperFlex has. So it's just a little bit stiffer. And if you hold them side by side, you can see that this part is a little bigger on the comfy collar than it is on the SuperFlex. So here they are from the front. These are both 14-inch, just for a little side-by-side comparison. So this one is, it's just a nicer, more upgraded collar to go with the little bit fancier comfy fit harness. So now we'll put this on Zorro. Alright, here's the comfy collar on Zorro. So make sure your hair is all nice and smooth and your mane's laying over. Make sure it's quite snug up here so it doesn't gap. And you can see it comes back quite far as well, and then your saddle would be here. So again, it won't hit the front of the saddle. On him, keep in mind Zorro's a 40-inch pony, so there's a little more space. On your tinier minis, there's not a lot of space between the back of that breast collar and the front of the saddle. The shorter your shoulder gets, the less space there is. Keep this in mind for donkeys who have real narrow chests and minis that have a really narrow chest. So we'll look at the front. Nice and snug. All right, now we'll look at the work style collar. This is actually a buggy collar. The buggy collar, especially for minis and ponies, made by Broadhead. It's leather. Has the lever fastener. And then, of course, for this style collar, you need to use the Hames. That's what your trace is attached to. But for this video, I'm just showing the collar difference. So, very stiff. It does not give under pressure. So this is the collar you use for a low line of draft, because when your traces come down off the collar down here and there's pressure put on this collar, you won't end up with all the pressure just pressing down on top of the neck. This part won't fold up and crush their windpipe. Instead, it will keep its shape and allow them to pull using their shoulders, the front of their shoulders and their neck. And that's how you want them to pull. So you want a nice swept pattern that does the shoulders and the front of the neck when they're working in a collar like this. If you have one of this style, when you use a low line of draft, all the weight goes on this here, and this part folds up and crushes their windpipe. It does this. So that is why you do not use a breast collar style on a low line of draft. It's very, very important that you don't think you can use this for a vehicle with a low line of draft, or for dragging logs, or for harrowing or anything. This is just for a horizontal line of draft. So please, and a light cart. So keep that in mind. So this is a 14-inch, same as the other two, and I will put this on him. Now I have a video showing collar fit for these, but just to show you this one, you want to be able to slide your hand along in there and fit your hand flat at the bottom. So when it goes into draft, it can lift up and push back. You can see that this one fits quite different than the other two that I just showed you, in that the other two have to be quite snug, and this one it's not snug, but it can't be loose either, because you don't want twisting to occur or bouncing. But you can see that there's more room down here, definitely, on this style of collar. All right, so we have the collar that you would use with the Hames, the SuperFlex that Zorro drives in. He pulls his hyper bike with this SuperFlex, and the comfy collar. This is the one, if you have a comfy fit harness, that you would most likely get because it would match and look really nice. So the 3 collars and their differences. Hopefully this answers any questions that you may have had about these. Keep in mind, these are all 14-inch collars that fit Zorro, who's 40 inches. The differences are the same if you go down to the smaller sizes or all the way up to the draft sizes. This is what you would get. This is what your comfy collar would look like, except it would be 23 to 26 inches for a draft. This is what your SuperFlex would look like, and then a buggy style collar. So just because I only have Zorro to show doesn't mean we don't carry these things in all the sizes up to draft horse. So keep that in mind, and thank you so much for watching. Are you helping, kitties?